Wife cheats on husband. This is a dramatic story of love, lies, and betrayal that will keep you hooked until the very end. Chapter 1: A Perfect Life. The first rays of sun slipped through the light curtains, falling across the hardwood floor of the kitchen and painting it in a soft golden hue. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and toast was their morning ritual. Melissa was already by the stove, wearing one of his shirts as if it were her own. Her long chestnut hair was tied back in a messy ponytail, and that smile, the one he'd fallen in love with, was there to greet him. "Morning, sleepyhead," she teased, setting a mug of coffee in front of him. "Morning's perfect," he smiled back, especially with this view. Breakfast, light jokes, talks about plans for the day. She told him about clients at the fitness club she managed. He shared updates on his latest architectural project. It all felt simple. Right. On weekends, they rode bikes along the Riverwalk, sometimes picnicking in the park. Summers meant backyard barbecues with neighbors. Fall meant trips to watch the leaves change color. Friends often said, "You two are the perfect couple," and John believed them. He was proud of what they had built. Not rich in the traditional sense, but they had everything they needed: a cozy home, stable jobs, plans for the future. Most of all, he believed they had each other. Sometimes, in the evenings, they'd sit on the porch with a glass of wine, listening to the crickets and dreaming about trips together. Melissa wanted Paris. John wanted to show her the Grand Canyon. They had arguments, who doesn't, but they passed quickly. In John's mind, their life was nearly flawless. He didn't know that, behind her warm smiles and morning kisses, shadows of lies were already growing. Chapter 2: The First Crack. John stayed late at the office, another client making last-minute changes to a project. On his way home, he remembered they were out of groceries and stopped at the shopping center. The setting sun turned the glass facades gold. And then he saw her. Melissa was standing by a black SUV, her hand resting casually on the shoulder of a tall man in a gray rolled-sleeve shirt. They were laughing. Her head tilted toward him, her eyes lingering just a moment too long. John froze. Maybe a client from the club, he told himself. But something about the way she touched him, the way she leaned in it, was too familiar. He didn't approach. He turned away. Don't be paranoid. She chatted about gym gossip and a new VIP training program. John listened, but the image on the parking lot kept replaying. The next day, his neighbor Sam grinned and said, "Hey, buddy, your wife knows how to turn heads." So her getting into a car with some guy in a suit. Melissa began staying late more often. Sometimes she came home after 9, smelling of expensive perfume he didn't recognize. Her phone never left her side even at night. One night, he woke at 2 a.m. to find her texting, holding the screen away from him. When she noticed he was awake, she quickly set it down and pretended to sleep. "Maybe I'm imagining things," he told himself. But deep down, he knew there was a crack, and it was only going to widen. Chapter 3: The First Blow. Room 417. Tonight. No context, but his pulse began to pound. Less than an hour later, he was at the Hilton. The quiet, gold-lit hallways smelled faintly of flowers. He stopped at the door. Behind it, soft laughter, a woman's, hers. The lock clicked. The door opened, and there they were. Melissa was sprawled across white sheets with a man John had never seen before. They were too caught up in each other to notice him. "You," John's voice cracked, then roared. "You b—" His fist smashed into the man's jaw, sending him sprawling. John followed, hitting again and again, the fury flooding every punch. Melissa screamed, wrapping herself in a sheet. "You're insane," she cried. John stood, breathing hard, looking at her as if she were a stranger. "No. Insane is throwing away everything you had for this. Life would never be the same." Chapter 4: Lies and Poison. He hadn't slept since the hotel. The door opened. Melissa walked in like nothing had happened. "Who is he?" John demanded. "Nobody," she said quickly. "A mistake." "That wasn't a mistake. That was betrayal. You're a good husband, John, but you're predictable. I can't breathe." "The answer is feeling alive." "How many, Melissa? 1? 2? Should I make a list?" She smirked. "Let's be honest, we're just two people sharing a house. The rest is an illusion." "I'm staying," she replied. "And if you want a war, you'll get one. Only the promise that this wasn't over." Chapter 5: The Last Door. That night, he saw her phone light up. Marriott. Room 923. Tonight. At the Marriott, the laughter behind the door was unmistakable. She sounded happy in a way she hadn't with him in years. He opened it, and there she was, Melissa, tangled in sheets with yet another man. Their eyes met. No shame, only annoyance. "You know, Melissa," he said quietly, "this is the last door I'll ever open for you." He never saw her again. Months later, John heard she'd lost her job. The man left her. Bills piled up. She sold everything she could, then moved into a cheap motel, and eventually, the street. Some said they'd seen her, backpack slung over her shoulder, eyes hollow. John never checked. Betrayal rarely destroys all at once. It chips away at trust, love, respect until there's nothing left. So think carefully before you gamble everything on a night's passion. You might win the thrill, but lose the rest of your life. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next story, and check out our previous video for more drama.